We got a pretty good crowd considering it's Friday afternoon.
They've just turned your microphone on.
Yep.
It's like that bit in the pub when you're shouting something and then every other conversation just ends at exactly the same time and you're just there going, with a cucumber! What? Welcome to the Reduced NDC Company. My God, you look like you've been at sea in a boat for about a year. Yes, this is the Reduced. So if you're familiar with the Reduced Shakespeare Company, they do the complete works of William Shakespeare in 90 minutes. And they actually take about 45 minutes just to do one bit of one play and then have to rush through the rest. It's hilarious. And so I thought, hey, those guys are incredibly talented and trained and spent an awful lot of time working on this. Why don't I throw something together in an afternoon based on the same idea? So this is the Reduced NDC Company with my partner in crime, Amy Capers, and our silent writing partner. He's like the Stephen Moffat of the organisation. Martin Thwaites down there, who's been helping me come up with mean and horrible things to say about my fellow speakers.
Yeah.
As have you, which is nice.
Well, you asked me when I was jet-lagged and tired, and jet-lagged Amy has difficulty saying no to anything.
I know.
Hence, now this is my fourth talk for the conference.
Great thing is, because you live in Australia, jet-lagged Amy is the only Amy I ever meet.
Well, I think even when, were you in Sydney?
I was in Sydney.
Yeah.
But even then you got like 3 hours.
It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
I was a local speaker who had to get on a plane for 4 hours with a 3-hour time difference.
Yeah. Whereas I got on the plane from Heathrow and then took melatonin and slept for 16 hours to Singapore, and then they like carried me. And actually, it was weird. They carried me off the plane, round security, and then back onto the same plane again for reasons.
I think I need to find out your melatonin. You're getting different melatonin to me.
I buy my melatonin from a man outside Brixton Tube Station. It says melatonin. Well, actually, it says metalonin because he's dyslexic. But oh God, if you're the kind of person who likes to complain because somebody said something a little bit off that could be construed the wrong way, please fuck off now.
And probably don't come to PubConf tonight.
And definitely don't come to PubConf tonight because it's going to be so much worse. So, in the best tradition of Shakespearean theatre tonight, I will be playing all the women and Amy will be playing Gwyneth Paltrow. She has an interesting candle to sell you, apparently. Is that right?
Well,
joke for one person, but it's okay because I like him. Right. So, the first talk of the conference, the opening keynote, was "We are the guardians of our future." And actually, at this point, I should probably clarify, I haven't seen any of these talks. I gave one of them and I barely paid attention to that.
I made it to mine.
Sorry?
I made it to mine. It was
you
touch
made it
and
to
go.
yours, just, but you were jet-lagged. Yeah.
But actually, I didn't make it.
So no, and just to be completely fair, I have avoided seeing any of these talks. I also have not read the abstracts. So I'm really just guessing what they were about based on the titles. And so this one is obviously a crossover between the Guardians of the Galaxy and Back to the Future, where Thanos goes back in time to make sure that his parents meet so that he'll be born.
Yeah, I missed this one too, but it's okay because I'll watch it on the plane on the way back.
Yes, it'll be on the plane on the way back, so yes. I always like watching Airplane on the plane. Just fills it with, it's better than watching Airport. Why is Airport called? No, anyway. So that was the opening keynote, and apparently it was great. All these talks were great, except 2, which I will point out when we get to them. No, I won't. Then we had the SignalR Deep Dive with Damien Edwards and David Fowler, because apparently .Net Core is finished, and so they're not talking about that anymore. And you'd think this was about the WebSockets thing, but you say it was...
No, it's the submarine that...
James Cameron
built.
Yes.
Either that or it's the guy who runs Twilio, and he named it after their conference.
Is that what Twilio's conference is?
Yeah, I think that's about.
Maybe
the
they sponsored James Cameron's submarine.
Probably, yeah.
Yes. It'll definitely be one of those things and nothing to do with WebSockets anyway. Then there was, now this, I am sad I missed this because I'm assuming that this was the life story of the famous English landscape architect, Sir Capability Mapping, who designed some of the greatest, like Regent's Park and Hyde Park. No, wait, that was Capability Brown, wasn't it? Yeah, don't know what that was about then. This was the first of 847 serverless talks here at NDC London.
Well, and one of 200 Azure talks.
And one of 200 Azure talks. So yes, there was lots. So there was securing serverless applications in Azure. There was serverless, 5 key things you need to know, which was basically
don't,
no,
definitely no,
hell no,
no,
and please stop.
Yep.
Yep, that was it.
Got all 5.
Yes. Empowering soft skills with team dynamics / communication skills with Crux Conception, who I'm pretty sure was the guitarist from the Sisters of Mercy.
And that was about the new Microsoft product, and they're graphing how people's soft skills go. And so they get to see the graph go up, and it gives them a nice little happy feeling inside.
That's right.
Yep.
And now you get a HoloLens 2 with your dynamic subscription, which means communication skills don't matter anymore because you never have to actually see anyone.
None of your team are actually real.
You can just program a filter, and it makes it look like they're not there. Seriously, when HoloLens, when that kind of thing finally comes out, I'm going to make a world-modifying thing that just replaces people with my favourite cartoon characters. It'll be like I'm at Disney World all the time.
So wait until you see Mark at a conference with that.
The next talk, so make your custom .NET GC whys and hows with Konrad Kokoza. So I only saw this talk from the front, and I thought it would be quite short, and then apparently it was actually 1,000 hours long. But really, really good. No, seriously, I bought Konrad's book from Amazon, and the thing about buying books from Amazon is you see the cover.
Turn up?
Sorry?
They don't turn up?
No,
Is that just
you're
Australia? Yeah.
They will turn up, it's just, you know.
Can't get it there.
Yeah. But that's because the request from your computer through the Australian internet to Amazon takes longer than driving to the shop.
Hey, my local shop's 50 minutes away.
Yes. No, I bought Konrad's book from Amazon, and I just thought, it's .NET GC. How complicated can it be? That complicated! Seriously, and I honestly, I tried to read it, and I was just like, this is not going to happen. So I bought it again on Kindle, and now my wife just uses the paper copy to get things down off high shelves. But it is a great book. I think it's a great book. The first 13% of the book is great. I am reading it. I've been at 30% for the last 40 pages. But it is very, very good, and he is. And I've seen another talk by him, and it was great. So I'm guessing that one's probably good too.
Probably.
OpenID Connect and OAuth 2.0 security best practices.
See, that's a really long title.
It is, but in German it's just one word. They have a word for that. Is that not the same talk that he does every year?
Well, no, I think he just changes the number.
So you think next year it'll go 3.0 and...
No, 2.1, that 2. way you can go for way longer.
Yeah. Then there was controlling wildfires while only getting singed.
Well, that one, I'm looking forward to that coming out on YouTube because we can send that to the Australian politicians.
We can, yes. Yeah. No, those are bushfires.
Surely they can learn something from it.
Let's hope, but no. Obviously, it should be while only getting sung, but she's northern. She doesn't know any better. That's all right. She's a friend of mine. She will... No, she'll kick me very hard somewhere. I deserve it. Shaw's algorithm is scary now. So actually, I wanted to see this because it's not a great title. Who knows what that talk is about from the title? 2 people. Did you go to the talk? So you don't know what it's about from the title, you went to the talk. Right, doesn't count. No, Shor's algorithm is the algorithm for factoring primes, or for factoring integers to the primes. And it's so if you can run Shor's algorithm, then you can break RSA encryption, which is kind of scary. And the problem is that now we've invented quantum computers. So Shor's algorithm on a classical computer takes days to run. Shor's algorithm on a quantum computer runs like that.
Except in Australia.
Except in Australia. They'll find a way to slow quantum computers down.
We still can't load the algorithm properly.
Yeah. But the thing is, so RSA encryption in a world with quantum computers is completely useless. But that is not the scary thing. The scary thing is that the way quantum computers work is that there are an infinite number of quantum computers across an infinite number of universes. And the algorithm runs on all of them at the same time. And then we get our answer from the universe where it calculated the right. This is honestly how they think quantum computing works.
So does that mean there would be another parallel universe where you're actually funny?
No, it's everything that's possible can exist. The paradox of that laugh is going to bake my brain later.
You're clearly going to beat me at PubConf. I've got to take what I can get.
So the scary thing is that the people or the mice from that other universe are going to turn up and demand payment for working out all the answers to Shor's algorithm.
Well, it's fine, I've got my towel.
Excellent. Of course, if it does turn out that there is a multiverse, Britain will find a way to leave it.
Yeah, but it'll take them 2 years to decide, and then, a 2-year transition period.
Yes,
yep.
And then Scotland will leave the UK and go, we want to come back into the multiverse. And the multiverse will go, have you got any quantum computers? And Scotland go, deep-fried bounties? Yes! Do you know you're the only Scotland in the entire multiverse where you thought of deep-frying chocolate bars? Delightful, durable function patterns.
That's where John Skeet gets his pants from.
Yes. Have John Skeet's pants been seen outside of the speaker room? Yes.
But he changed before.
I'm disturbed by that now. Okay.
He was wearing European Union pants, but they were not put on until he arrived in the building.
Okay, because he didn't want to get lynched by pro-Brexit. Oh, it's such a lovely place to live at the moment. Then it turned out that actually Damien and David hadn't told us everything there was to know about .NET Core 3. They'd forgotten application diagnostics, but that was okay, because so do we. That's a complicated back-end thing. I wouldn't worry about it. But you can help design the graphs that make it look good on screen.
No, that's what Microsoft's Dynamics does that.
Oh, yeah, that's true, with the soft skills.
Yeah,
OK. Then there was EVE Online with, I'm not even going to try, Stefan, defending their players from hackers, which is actually really, it's so important at EVE Online because quite a lot of their players have now uploaded themselves into the servers. And so if hackers
Netflix
get
did a documentary on that. Was it called Black Mirror?
Yes, that's it, Black Mirror.
Yeah.
The documentary about things that
See, I don't have to worry about that because I just use Stefan's last name as my password.
Yeah. That passes every sufficient complexity check. Although you can't post it on certain message boards because it contains the word arson. And you might be talking about starting a fire in Scunthorpe. Cynicism doesn't build products, cynics do.
If you don't believe him, he has a product.
I have a product and it's great, and you should buy it. But more on that later. How to secure your microservices. This was great. Apparently, if you run them all in the same process and just don't involve the network at all, then that's
a really
completely
good idea.
secure. It is a great idea.
Why hasn't anybody thought about that?
I've just...
we should come up with a name for it.
I thought monolith. You know, like in 2001, the word monolith has just got such positive connotations for everybody, especially in tech.
Just do a talk about it next year.
I will.
Yeah.
An introduction to machine learning using Lego, which sounds weird until you realise that the guy's Danish.
This is just so that he can tax deduct his Lego purchase.
Almost certainly.
Yeah. There was a talk on it.
Yes.
Did a talk on it.
But no, in Denmark, they actually introduce you to everything using Lego. Danish people are born understanding Lego, and so they have, like, introduction to solid foods using Lego. Whereas here, our children try and do introduction to solid foods using Lego, and like, no! Yours is the Duplo, because you can't eat it. The OWASP Top 10 Proactive Controls 2018.
Because they haven't changed?
He submitted it in 2018, they said no, so he submitted it again in 2019, and they said no. And
Next year.
Last year was a really dry year for submissions. That's one theory. My other theory is that the OWASP Top 10 doesn't change, and how to fix it doesn't change, because we're all so stupid. And so, number one is still concatenating user input variables into SQL and then executing them directly against the database, because that's still a thing. So yes, backend. This was great. No Snow Days When You Work Remote by PubConf runner-up Jennifer Wadella.
I thought I didn't get snow days because I worked in Australia.
That's true. Do you get fire days? What,
yes.
Because it's still happening?
Almost
but
never
it's this kind of... You get other kinds of days, though, when you work remote, though, don't you? You get days when you're actually on the beach with your phone doing Slack, and you saved a Git commit from yesterday to push when you get home to make it like you've been working all day. So.
Well, and then there's the days where you have to go out and get milk, so you actually have to wear pants that day.
I hate those days. I want to get my milk from Amazon.
Well, see, I live in Australia, so you just don't have to wear pants anyway.
That's true.
And you know what? I'm still the best dressed person in the supermarket.
Because you're wearing a hat. A developer's introduction to Kubernetes, which would probably have been a great talk, but Paul Stack wouldn't let anyone in. He was just standing in the doorway going, no, nobody needs to see this. So yes, more on Kubernetes later. Modernising the enterprise. So you had thoughts.
Well, this one was clearly not a very popular talk because who's actually going to modernise anything in the enterprise?
I thought maybe it was upgrading from a VT200 to a VT220.
I don't know, that sounds a bit rushed.
Yeah.
Not sure we're ready for that.
You're not sure the VT220's been proven as a reliable technology yet. I guarantee you that conversation has actually happened somewhere in some place in the world. You know, in an ideal world, that talk would have been about this. But no. Then there was Vagif, the keyboard player from the Linebreakers, doing F# in Frontend in F#. Your thoughts, front-end person?
Well, I'm pretty sure this is the reason why the one functional programming conference I went to, I left because every single person told me that my life and job were useless.
Because you weren't writing your front ends in F#?
Actually, it was because I wasn't writing them in Elm.
Elm?
Yeah.
What's Elm?
I don't know. But apparently I should use that instead of HTML.
OK. Does anybody know what Elm is? I don't care.
I think I have a table in that.
Actually, just because I couldn't really think of very much funny to say about this, so I thought I'd do a Google image search and see if I could find a compromising picture of Vagif. And oh my God, did Google image search deliver?
Well, he looks very nice in the dress.
He does. He looks lovely. I don't know why that comes up, but I really want that to be him. In Swan Lake? Oh, you're so uncultured. You're going, yes, it probably is Swan Lake. It's Nutcracker, yes.
I reckon if you ask Dylan nice enough, he can make that a requirement for the next Line Breakers show.
That would be great. That would be fantastic. Rip it up and start again with Sam Newman. So this is the first of the talk titles that ends with a question mark, which means you can apply Betteridge's law. Betteridge's law states that any headline, for which I'm going to say talk title works, any headline that ends with a question mark can be answered with no. So, rip it up and start again?
Yes.
No. But actually, yes, because it's fun. Just shred all your microservices and rewrite them as a monolith.
That's what we're doing in Australia, except for we're burning it down and starting again.
Yes, yeah. And starting evolution again, because the marsupials are going to have to start again from scratch. Oh God, they're going to put this on YouTube. What you always wanted to know about machine learning but were afraid to ask. I never quite understand that talk title because I'm never afraid to ask anything. But I went to check on Google what it is that people want to know about machine learning and are afraid to ask, and it's why is machine learning so popular, so hard, used, done in Python. But actually, if you put why is then done in Python is always one of the auto-suggest.
Well, to be fair, that's a valid question.
It is.
Clearly, you should be doing machine learning in JavaScript.
Absolutely, yes, or TypeScript. Or, of course,
that's a bit much.
WebAssembly. Hand-coded WebAssembly. Why is machine learning a black box? No. So it can fly aeroplanes. Why don't they make machine learning from the same stuff? No, that's why don't they make the plane from the same stuff they make the black box from. From WCF to gRPC, from some idiot with a thing to sell.
I heard no one went to that talk.
No, nobody at all.
Even the speaker didn't turn up.
He phoned it in, I heard. But I will say the thing he's selling is awesome and everyone should buy a copy even if they don't need it.
What's it called, Mark?
Visual Recode. I wasn't going to say that. He asked. Checks in the post. This... I'm a back-end developer and I made these slides. What are your thoughts?
Well, I kind of didn't like this talk because this was actually a talk that I had the idea for. So Mandy clearly stole my talk.
Okay, so there's that.
See, my thing, which is just if back-end developers don't want to learn how to do front-end properly, then maybe they should just stop touching it.
I'm on board with that. Yeah. I completely agree with that. In fact, I think I'm going to put a virtual question mark on the end of this talk title so that we can answer it with no. No, so, stick to what you know and what you're, having met a lot of back-end developers, I'm just going to say less bad at.
And so clearly the only solution to that is when Visual Recode needs a website, you'll hire me because you don't want to touch the front end.
Somebody else does the website, but for precisely this reason. But yes, if we ever... Actually, I might run the UI past you at some point. That would be quite good. Although it is WPF. Because it has to be. Do you know that this is the saddest thing? I'm making a Visual Studio plugin so that everybody can adopt the latest technology in .NET Core 3.1 and C#8. And I'm doing it in WPF and .NET 4.7.2. C#7. Whatever the latest version that works is. So, yeah. Micro front-ends strive for fully verticalized systems, which I'm guessing was how to design your user interface so that it looks right in portrait mode.
Well, no, it's to help with the selfies.
There's another selfie thing later. We'll talk about that then. This was a great talk from Steve Sanderson. Oh, shit. No, that. Yes.
See, you joke, but if I want to watch entertainment on my computer on the plane, I do need to have Silverlight installed on my computer.
Because Australia.
Yes.
So what do you use for that? Internet Explorer 11 or?
I think so. I usually just have a snap instead, because that sounds too hard.
Yes. Actually, it still works really well on Linux, because they've got Moonlight, and everything just carries on working on Linux. How to steal an election with Gary Short. 5 years too late, Gary. Where were you when we needed you? Scotland, that's where. Do you know Gary?
No.
Good. He's a bad person. See this, I'm really disappointed by this talk. Angara Edwards, there is an imposter in this room. See, I thought this was going to be one of those nice kind of soft skills, soft talks about how everybody should stop feeling bad about themselves. But it turns out she just went round everybody in the room, asking them increasingly hard technical questions, trying to find out who the imposter was.
Was it all of them?
No, it was Martin. Developer's Guide, Developer's Introduction to Electronics with Guy Royce, that went really well, only 3 people died.
When they say don't try this at home, they really mean it, don't they?
I generally assume they mean don't try this, Mark. That's a pretty good rule to go by. Can TypeScript really make infrastructure management easy?
I can answer this one. No.
Question mark. It's a good point.
Because it's just a TypeScript file that I've written JavaScript in.
Yes, it's TypeScript. It can, actually. The thing that Paul does, it really is good. But do it. The Internet of Pwned Things by Troy Hunt, like, for example, his website. The dude with the OWASP came back again and did another one. This was the OWASP top 10s, which, like, they're still the same OWASP top. I don't know what the OWASP ASVS. Honestly, I just wish this was the WASP top 10s. Dr. Fox Wasp. New at number 1, it's buzz, 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 buzz. Do you have wasps? Yeah, I bet you have the best wasps in Australia, don't you? You have, like, thingy amphibious wasps that burst out of the water and just go stomping along the beach like this. And...
But that almost never happens. Every time I go travelling, people ask me about snakes, and I go, well, you know, it almost never happens, except for the 4 times my parents have found a snake in my sister's bedroom this week.
Is it the same snake?
Pretty sure it is.
It just keeps coming back.
They should tag it next time.
They should just kill it. There's only a fucking snake. I mean, you can't kill that snake. It's endangered. It's endangered. Get it out of my daughter's bedroom.
These ones are okay because they actually kill the other snakes.
Do they kill people as well, though?
Only when they get really, really big, and that almost never happens.
Yes, that's Australia's motto, isn't it?
That almost never happens except for the time over Christmas that one attacked a 4-year-old. And when I tried to find out more information, I found 4 articles from the last 5 years of the same thing happening.
But it almost never happens.
Almost never happens.
Well, that's good to know. Oh, this is definitely your department. What is the state of VueJS in 2020?
Well, they keep going on about how many stars they've got on GitHub.
So is that good? Or is
Apparently, they almost have more stars on GitHub than React does.
And does each of those stars represent a state? Like on the American flag? Or the Australian flag, actually.
Do we have the same amount?
You've got 5 stars? Is there 5 stars on the Australian? I don't know, it's your flag.
Yeah, Yeah, but do we have 5? I feel like we have more than 5 states.
The points on the star.
Sorry?
It's the points on the star.
Is it? Oh, okay. There you go, he knows. He knows, and are you Australian? Oh, well. Your shame is not complete.
I'm from Queensland. We didn't really learn about that stuff.
Fair play. Because if you're from Queensland, why would you want to learn about anywhere else? It's quite nice there, isn't it?
So you can leave Queensland usually.
Yeah, but the fruit's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
You see people from Queensland going, lemon. Because they are just that sweet. No, I don't know whether you're supposed to be leaping towards VueJS or away from it. I'm maybe towards Svelte or Blazor, you know. But we'll find out at some point. Predictive maintenance. How does data science revolutionize the world of machines? Which just summarized the plots of all 5 Terminator movies.
I thought there were 6.
6 Terminator movies. No, one of them doesn't count.
Okay.
With Victoria Kalmanovich, that's clearly a pseudonym for Sarah Connor. You don't data science, do you?
No.
Oh, you said you did a data science.
No.
You said you did a machine learning.
I did a machine learning.
What did you tell them? Because of machine learning, it sounds brilliant. I thought these things were...
Oh, no, I built a bot that can tell you whether or not you've sent it a picture of a quokka or something else, because a quokka is the only animal in Australia that isn't trying to kill you. So you need to find out, can you pat it, or should you run away really, really fast? Usually by the time you've uploaded the photo, it's too late though.
Yeah. So like when the dingo's coming towards you, you're just going, hang on, selfie.
It's fine, because you can just throw your baby at the dingo.
But no, and Amy showed me a picture of quokkas, and oh, they're so cute. But in Australia, that doesn't mean they won't kill you.
Almost never happens.
Almost.
Except for at night time, when they kind of go mental.
3D printed bionic hand, a little IoT, and a Xamarin mobile app. Most of us just sit on our hand till it goes numb. But Clifford wants to go the extra mile, and I respect that.
Yes, but didn't
Dedication.
Big Bang Theory did an episode on that, and it didn't end well.
Didn't it?
I think it something broke on the computer, and they had to go to hospital and explain what the issue was.
Was that the one who looks like a beetle?
Yes. It turns out turning it off and on again fixed it. It released.
They are really running out of ideas on that show.
I think it was season 2.
Machine learning for .NET developers. I'm really offended by talk titles that say something for .NET developers, because it makes me feel like it's like aromatherapy for dogs. It's just this thing for people who don't really deserve it, don't need it, and won't understand it, and are probably just going to lick their balls anyway.
I once saw machine learning for front-end developers.
Was that when you wrote your quokka detector?
No, but the speaker did make a willy detector.
That's from Silicon Valley. Hot dog, not hot dog.
It still disappoints me every time I see a machine learning talk now and they build something boring and I go, you could have built a willy detector.
You could completely have built a willy detector and then...
Useful if you're a woman in tech.
Yes.
Although most of the messages are.
Blazor in more depth.
Didn't we get enough depth before?
I thought there was plenty of depth the first time, but apparently there was depth that... I think they did more than the version number in this one. It's 3.2. But yes.
I haven't gotten far enough for that depth yet.
See, I feel bad, but I'm one of those people who just goes, new thing, new thing, new thing, and just runs around and grabs all the new things. I have not even gone file new project Blazor because I've just been burned too many times. Maybe...
There's a JavaScript framework you can use instead. It's way newer.
What's that, Angular? I'm a bit
I think
behind.
we're up to like Angular 5 now.
It's
been a couple of minutes.
It must be Angular 6. Introduction to GitHub Actions. So this introduced the idea that for every GitHub action, there is an equal and opposite GitHub reaction. So every time your code gets automatically compiled, somebody else's code gets decompiled. And stop it, because it's really pissing them off. What was your thought on this?
Well, I thought that was that when they take on a new client, who have they just taken on? Someone in the US? ICE. Yes. They lose everybody else.
Yes, that's it. That's the equal and opposite reaction.
Yes.
We've extended ICE's contract and everybody else has terminated theirs. Angular, no.
No, that was a really interesting book.
What?
Well, that was the spin-off from, what was it?
Tintin.
Honey Boy Tintin.
Tintin.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Angular in the case for RxJS. Like Tintin in the case of the Black Diamond.
I was disappointed. It didn't have a cute dog in this one.
Oh, that's no
Tintin had a dog.
Oh, that's a real shame. They've missed an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Maybe the next one will be better.
Yeah.
Angular and the case for psychotherapy. Building a buzzwording a buzzword in buzzword using buzzwords with Martin Beebe. Yay! Do you know any of those buzzwords?
Not sure. None of them are about Frontend. Can I do any of them in
Blazor's
CSS?
Frontend. Sorry?
Can I do any with CSS?
Yes. Yeah, you can definitely build some part of a buzzword in CSS.
I can't get an AWS account though.
No, because Australia.
CSS is serverless.
Nothing is serverless. There's no such thing as serverless. The only thing that's serverless is trees. And possibly other, like, physical objects, but mainly trees.
Yep.
There's more of them.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything is cyber broken too with Troy Hunt and that bloke who's always hanging around with Troy Hunt.
Oh, well, this one was, they were trying to prove that sequels are actually okay.
Sequels are okay, but no sequels are not okay because they're insecure. Oh no, the other kind of sequels.
Another kind of sequel.
The other kind of sequel.
Yes, so they were like, well, we can do a sequel to the talk that we've given for the last 3 years. We can do a sequel to it and it will be better. And it wasn't.
They were led astray by the surprise runaway success of Bad Boys 3. It's good.
But it's
against all the odds. It's a good movie.
But it's okay, because no one was in that talk, because everyone was in my talk.
That's awesome. I know Troy does really struggle to get people.
But it's okay. Scott told me that at least the people in my talk would be there for the content.
Scott who?
I can't think of it.
Keep it clean, why bad data ruins projects and how to fix it. So actually Lemon had a really good take on this last night.
Yeah, that was nice and easy. It's called the delete button.
Yes.
Select all, delete.
Backspace, 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 backspace everything.
No bad data? No bad code?
No. Just one solar flare, wipe out all digital magnetic records, and that will solve all our problems. Wait, I have to test the front end too? No. Question mark, no.
I now have to go through and rename some of my talks.
Real-world guide to Web API authentication on Azure. This is as opposed to the World of Warcraft guide to Web API authentication on Azure, where you just use magic pixies and in-app purchases. Although actually, Azure is just one big pile of in-app purchases, so I guess that's kind of the same. Heather's unfortunately gone to, unfortunately for us, because she's lovely, fortunately for Heather, has gone to Morocco. And so I can't ask her why Web API authentication on Azure is different from Web API authentication anywhere else, but I suspect it just costs more. How to hire great engineers? You can't. I'm freelance.
Well, the thing is, a really good engineer just decides they've had enough and does, in fact, go and work for themselves.
Yes, that's it. It's kind of like, I don't want to build this for you anymore. Why am I doing this? You won't even let me learn Rust and rewrite the whole thing. Beyond REST with GraphQL in .NET Core. Clearly not worth going to because there's no gRPC in it. Best practices for securing a CI/CD pipeline. You have the best
I have
practice.
a really good practice.
So yes,
and
this Amy is going to...
I have this program on my computer. I'm not sure it's called the same on Mac as it is on Windows. It's called FileZilla. And I connect to the server and I drag the folder into it. And then I wait a couple of weeks because I'm in Australia. Yeah. It's actually easier. What I can do is I can put it on a USB and mail it to Microsoft. And they put it on there for me.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But no, the other way you can secure your CI/CD pipeline is to do it in Jenkins, because then nobody understands it, so they can't hack it. Solving tricky coordination problems in stateless .NET services. I don't want to solve tricky coordination problems in stateless .NET services. That's what consultants are for. They will just hire somebody to do that. Ordering the chaos, cleaning events and ordering events in microservices. Because microservices make things that should just happen and be easy and happen by default really complicated, so you have to do talks about them. Because
I thought Adam just said that everyone should use monoliths.
Yes, I believe that was his conclusion. Because if you use a monolith, then your events are in order.
Yeah.
Especially if you do a monolith in Node, because it's impossible for things to happen out of order in Node, because it only uses a single core.
Well, it's the same. Rather than having a mess of like lots of different boxes of mess, just have one big box you can shove under the bed, and it doesn't matter that it's chaos.
Exactly. How does designing your culture help your code? Doesn't, no. Nothing helps my code. My code is perfect. My culture, didn't it?
I mean, it's what you...
It's me, yes. Yeah.
And that guy that you work with, he's a bit of an arse.
I have actually filed 3 HR complaints against myself in the last month.
Has HR responded?
No, I do HR in March. I'll get back to myself and then pick it up again next January. I'm the Chief Everything Officer. Why Kubernetes is not enough. Apparently it was because he had something better to sell you, I don't know. 25 years of SSL. This feels like it should have been done by Troy.
No, that's that was done by the guy who works for VeriSign.
Oh, right, the extended validation certificate guy.
Yeah,
yes,
that one.
Him, Scott VeriSign.
Yep.
That's him, yes. But no, I don't. I thought SSL, we weren't doing SSL anymore, because it's TLS now, isn't it?
I thought it was all just like a massive con for people to pay money to get the EV certificates instead.
That's it.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that HTTPS just slows down your website because of the extra encryption cycles and everything.
Yep.
I did see somebody who's starting a campaign saying all the HTTPS encryption and decryption is using more energy and therefore climate change. And so it would be much better if we just let our credit card details. Sprinkle some sparkle on it, teaching Xamarin with selfies.
I heard they struggled to clean up after that talk. There was just glitter everywhere.
Yeah.
It will never come out.
Sometimes I think a thing and I don't say it. And that's good. See, I wouldn't go to that talk anyway because I don't like selfies. Because I feel like selfies are a tool that the attractive people use to oppress the unattractive people. And I identify as unattractive.
I just don't like taking selfies.
Fair enough. That's good too. Svelte, cybernetically enhanced web apps.
See, I have a problem with that because Svelte is for the front end. And why are we letting front-end developers cybernetically enhance anything?
It does sound like a bad idea. I will cybernetically. I looked up cybernetically because you sort of think it's something to do with the Cybermen and cyborgs and the Borg and whatever else. But cybernetically actually just means to do with processes, and it comes from the Greek word kybernetos. Guess what other word that we have on some of these slides comes from the Greek word kybernetos? Yes, Docker Swarm.
Does it actually mean we've been saying Kubernetes wrong the whole time?
Yes, it should be kybernetos.
Okay, well, we'll have to fix that.
So this is clearly making your web apps better by running them in kybernetos.
Yep.
I'm so going to just keep calling it that from now on. Speaking of kybernetos, we have serverless containers with knative.
See, I thought he just didn't spell check his title before writing his abstract.
That is possibly it. Knative. Native. Is the N silent? The K silent, I mean? It would be cative if the N was silent, and also the loud run. Nice. Thank you. So yes, but no, generally no, and no. DDD really matters.
It does. That's the biggest tech conference we have in Perth. It's bigger than the other two.
One time, 4 people turned up.
No. This year, we had 6.
6?
6.
But that almost never happens.
Yeah, almost never happens. Well, to be fair, we had 6. Melbourne had 4.
Yeah, but how many attendees?
But no. Martin and I actually spent a considerable amount of time trying to think of something else that DDD could stand for, but every single one we thought of violated the code of conduct. Turbocharged, writing high-performance C# and .NET code with C6 Steve from Jules Holland's thing. That makes sense if you know who he is. He's over there. But yes, honestly, if you want to write high-performance code, just learn C++. Or C, even, because C++, that's layers of abstraction that you don't really need. Just learn assembly language.
I learned C in uni.
Did you?
Yep.
What happened?
I
Forgot
decided I hated programming.
Learning C will do that to you, actually. But then someone went, oh, if you didn't like C, you should try CSS. And you went, oh, shiny.
Actually, I ended up learning JavaScript after that.
And that was better?
I don't like to admit that this happened because it does make it seem that way.
We've done what the Reduced Shakespeare Company do, and we're running out of time.
Yep.
Effective microservice communication and conversation patterns. Again, just run them all in the same process. That makes that much more fun. Then Corel. This talk I did actually really want to see, but I was disorganized. The challenges of managing the CoreFX repo, because that is a huge repo. But apparently it wasn't challenging enough because they've just merged another 8 repos into it. Which means that now that XKCD cartoon looks like this. I'm cloning CoreFX. This is going to totally stop any Australian from contributing to .NET, isn't it? Oh, it's probably for the best.
I can't even load the docs. Started them before I left. Hopefully they'll be done when I get back from here.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
Good. Maybe we can learn about Blazor.
That's why I come to conferences, is I can download the documentation and take it home with me. Yeah.
And share it with the other Australians.
Yes.
I've brought the knowledge from the far-off lands. Oh, I make myself laugh. It's one person. GoPro on .NET with F#, so you can program those little cameras.
Yes.
That's nice. I don't know why you use F#. You just use something normal, but change your habits, modern techniques for modern C# with Not John Skeet.
Was that that's the sequel to the Healthy Habits book?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Not John Skeet is, of course, Bill Wagner, who's a great guy and a fantastic speaker. And
well, he has the funky
really
shirts and John has the funky pants.
That's right.
That's how you tell them apart.
But great story. I was at CodeMash a few years ago, and an attendee plucked up the courage to come up to John Skeet and ask him to sign Bill Wagner's book. And John Skeet went, you know, that's Bill. And the guy went, oh, God, I'm so embarrassed. And started to take the book away and John went, no, I'll sign it. Got the Sharpie, turned to page 63, corrected something, and then signed that page. That was just one of those, that was possibly one of the high points of my life, and I have 2 children. Shrink the web, how to get happier by removing crap. See, this was lemon, so this should actually have been called Shout the Shout, how to shout shoutier by shouting shouts.
He's doing another talk like that tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
He's not going to win, though.
No.
Jennifer's going to win. It's your time! How to code music. This apparently was awesome. I know lots of people who went to this and they've all just gone, oh my God, it was so good, you should have gone. So I hope I get to see this at some point.
I thought that was using Rockstar.
No, she was using Sonic Pi and JavaScript and kind of got everybody doing something by Queen, I don't know. But yeah, no, it sounded really good, and I missed it. Alexa, ask Cortana to tell Google to stop listening to everything and use it to sell me things.
Google says no. And Cortana's not working.
Cortana. Oh, bless Cortana. Single-page architectures with VueJS and ASP.NET Core. Do we like single pages at the moment?
I'm not sure.
No.
I think that's how you make the websites more performant. That's probably what Lemon was shouting about. If there's just one page, then there's less crap to slow your website down.
But Kevin Griffin was the original name of the dad in Family Guy. And then he threatened to sue, so they changed it to Peter. Hadn't you heard? I thought everyone had heard. Family Guy joke. Everybody's heard about the bird. Then there was the NDC party with some pathological attention halls. And me. Did you do the NDC party? Yes, you did. Yes. And us, then. Sorry. Building trust in teams with that guy from .NET Rocks, who everyone loves. Oh, there's the guy from .NET Rocks. But he's pretty good.
Carl's lovely.
Every time someone talks about team building trust, I always think of this. Hey, he's brought drinks. Ah! And it loops. That's my desktop background at home. Crash Bang Wallop, miscellaneous lessons from exploring a drum kit by Not Keith Moon in his anti-Brexit trousers. Was
one of the lessons to not have neighbours?
Quite possibly. But, you know, John Skeet lives in an enormous mansion on 50 acres of land.
I thought that was Bill Wagner.
Oh, no, it is Bill Wagner.
Yep.
Yes, John Skeet lives in Stack Overflow's server room. Just to get the lowest ping. He's like those financial institutions that buy the building next to the stock exchange. ML and the IoT, Living on the Edge by Bon Jovi. Yeah, no, none of those things. The perimeter has been shattered, attacking and defending mobility and IoT on the enterprise network. The centre cannot hold. So this would have been a good talk. I think she managed to say the title and then ask if there were any questions. I don't know. And Georgia, if you're actually here, I'm sorry. It's the only thing I could think of to say about your talk. Modernising large front ends. See, I thought of a joke about large front ends, but code of conduct again.
Is that why you asked me to be here? Because then you feel like those things are okay, because I had a woman on stage.
No, because I had an Australian on stage.
So you assumed I'd say them first.
You will say something worse than me, and so you'll deflect the attention. Yeah, that's good.
I can't even deny that.
What are web components? You know what web components are, don't you?
It's that thing that none of the browsers support, I think. But everybody keeps
talking about. Oh, you mean like privacy?
Yes.
Yes. No, but it's going to revolutionize the web
Yep.
once
When
the browsers
you can use it.
support it, and you can make them in Blazor.
Yep.
Yeah. Navigating microservices with .NET Core. Something gRPC something. Buy my thing. Deep dive on server-side Blazor by the other one from .NET Rocks. So this server-side Blazor is so web forms. Instead of view state, they've now got just an open WebSocket connection permanently, or a SignalR connection between the server and the browser. So yes, the thing you would like most about server-side Blazor, it has no front end at all. It's all back end. It's literally just spitting divs down at the browser one at a time and going, hey, display a div. Let me know if somebody clicks that div. Somebody clicked it, I'll go and get another div. This is an efficient use of the network.
See, I'm just getting disappointed now every time I see a talk title with deep dive that isn't actually about a submarine.
Yeah. We should totally do a talk next year on deep. What we should do is we should hire a submarine, then do something technical with it, and then do a talk about our experiences. That'd be great. You've got quite good sea around Australia, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that's where we've got to go there to get away from the fires.
Yes. So all the submarines have gone already, is what you're saying. Okay.
Troy's probably got one.
Common API security pitfalls, not securing your API being the main one.
That would never happen, though. No one really does that.
No, like the customer who I said, so don't deploy a Docker server into the cloud just running unencrypted on port 23456 or whatever it was.
So I definitely don't deal daily with an unsecured API.
But yes, and they did. And then they asked me what runner's root was and why there was a container called runner's root running on their unsecured Docker server. And I was kind of like, because you didn't listen. Getting the best out of EntityFramework Core. This is me not saying the things. The Rise of Clint Walker, Mastering Your Inner Developer, Part 2. Only Lars would call a talk something like that.
And see, I don't believe in part 2. I only believe in part 4, 5, and 6. Part 2 isn't real.
Yes. Maybe he just completely denies the existence of 1, 2, and 3, and so he calls 4 1, which would mean that this
is actually 5.
Was the second talk, which means it's better written and put together than the first talk, but it's got a really dark ending. Star Wars joke for 2 people. Breaking black box AI. So I don't know what that means. I know Evelina has a PhD in being clever.
But I thought you weren't able to break the black boxes. That's why they were really beneficial to have in the planes.
Yes, that's it. That's why you should make the plane of the same thing as the same thing as the little plastic doll, Red Dwarf. No, I don't know what that means, so I can't say anything about it. UX design fundamentals. What do your users really see? I'll tell you what my users really see.
A div.
Is a dialog box saying, "Can we send this error report?" It's in preview. Drinking a river of data. So obviously, drinking rivers of IoT data is not something anybody should do, because an IoT deer may have defecated in the IoT river further upstream, and you never know, it could have coronavirus or anything. So don't do that, basically. But that talk was on at the same time as this talk, which to me that looks like somebody who wanted to see that talk might also want to see that talk, don't you think? I mean, I'm not telling...
I feel like they're bragging about the fact that it's near real time.
Well, yes, near real time.
Like, if it's not real time, then just don't say it.
Yeah, so it should just be big data analytics with Apache Kafka streams.
Yeah.
It's either real time or it's not. It's like rather unique.
So it's not actually real time.
Yeah, it's like rather unique, or very unique, or completely unique, or anything. But no, so I just think that these two should probably have been on. I'm not telling the NDC organisers how to do their jobs, but somebody probably should. Fighting back against a distracted world, increasing your squirrel.
See, I was all set to make a joke, but you already had one.
I had a joke, that one, yes. It was just too easy and too obvious. So, did you have something?
What?
Go.
What? I'm sorry, I was going to go to that talk, but I didn't want to. I'd have to get up and leave the hotel and just... Yeah.
Reinventing the transaction script. I didn't even know they'd invented the transaction script. Scott is just light years ahead of me on everything, and I hate him. Continuous integration and delivery for databases with Jimmy Untapped Bogard, sponsored by Untapped and in association with Brewdog.
Is this also using Jenkins?
Is that using Jenkins? Probably. No, I don't know how you do continuous integration and delivery for databases. The next part gets all literary, because it's a tale of two sides of 2FA. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of Authenticator, it was the age of text messages. It was the epoch of 1Password. It was the epoch of Password 123. It was the season of OpenID, it was the season of basic authentication. It was the spring of TLS 1.3, it was the winter of HTTP. We had everything secured, we had nothing secured. We were all going direct to Slack, we were all going direct to Twitter. In short, the period was so far like the present period that some of its noisiest certificate authorities insisted on extended validation certificates for good or evil in the superlative degree of getting your company name in a green box in the address bar. Now go to sleep.
And I'm now wondering whether any of us should bother turning up to PubConf tonight or whether you can just take it.
Apparently I have to do KCDC and Ash, who is like freakishly good at
Last time you wrote a
thing.
song.
I wrote several songs. This time I've actually read Simulacra and Simulation by Jean Baudrillard, because I research my PubConf. I don't research my conference talks, but PubConf, that's important.
I have slides, I just have to work out what I'm saying with them.
Yes.
Got
Me
a couple
too.
of hours.
We've got plenty of time.
Yep.
Who's not in the room? That's definitely one of those questions where the inverse is easier to answer, because that's about 7.8 billion people. So if they were just going to list them, no. Introducing the benefits of the testing diamond.
Is that because the tests are really hard, like diamond?
I mean, he's from up north, so it probably wasn't a real diamond. Be like a cubic zirconia or a rhinestone or something. So, yeah, apparently... Oh, there goes an old... Cheers, bye. There goes my first red card. Fly the Enterprise applying aviation lessons to DevOps teams, because it's great to do a talk about massive failures of the airline industries just before the conference ends and everyone heads to the airport. Isn't it, Kendall?
It's magnificent.
Excellent, good stuff. Good work, fella.
I totally landed it, though.
Nice. You have a magical living room, don't you?
Do I?
Is it magical? Oh, no, lethal.
Lethal.
Lethal,
Yes.
because it's full of the snakes and the
Yes.
quokkas and the wombats. A wombat's
And the
dangerous.
spiders.
A wombat's dangerous.
Only if you get too close, I think.
So yes.
I mean,
then.
like I haven't tried it, but I assume they probably defend themselves.
All dangerous animals are only dangerous if you get too close. At least until great white sharks invent nuclear missiles.
That almost never happens.
Oh, we're having a
I
good
do
time.
have those stickers if anybody finds me after.
Yes, Amy does have this almost never happens stickers for your laptop. Everyone should have one. Apparently it was given by the baddie from Lord of the Rings. No? Okay. I don't want to build a magical living room. Combating illegal phishing with machine learning and Azure for less than £10 a month. What's illegal phishing?
I don't know. That sounds expensive. That's like 30 Australian dollars.
That is, yeah. And you can't use Azure.
No.
Well, they gave
I can use Azure because their free trial didn't need a credit card.
Right.
But
and you've got 2 Azure data centers in Australia now, haven't you?
3.
3?
Although apparently one's just for the government.
Yes. No, you have to have.
Although actually I don't, because I'm an MVP now, which means I get free Azure credits, which means I can actually try to do the things that I don't want to spend money on because Microsoft has enough of my money.
That's very true. Yes. Being an MVP is awesome. They took mine away.
I know.
Just because I stopped talking about
They
their
gave
stuff.
it to me.
You've got my MVP.
Yeah. It says previously owned by Mark Rendle.
Can I have half of your license keys for the software?
No.
My family are running unlicensed Windows now. Whereas before they were just running illegally licensed Windows.
Have they tried Linux?
Maybe that's what illegal phishing is.
Have they tried Linux?
No. No, I'm not prepared for that level of technical support. Lowering in C# what's really going on in your code.
I'm not sure I want to know that.
I don't want to know that.
Yep.
Nobody really wants to know what's going on in their code. That's just no happy knowledge is coming from there. Reducing third-party security risk in .NET Core applications.
Is that don't install Facebook?
It's yes, don't anything ever, no third parties, and a man on the door with a big stick with nails through the end, just avoiding third parties. Lambda, you keep using that letter with Kevlin?
Despite the fact that it wasn't a letter.
What?
Well, like if they're talking about, well, no, he's written the word. If he's calling it a letter, then write the letter in the title.
Yes. Yes, and he totally didn't do that, and I just wrote Lambda. No, he didn't. That's interesting. And I would say character set, but Stefan managed to get his name there. So
yeah.
I'm sure the Lambda's in there somewhere. No, stick to blue screens of death, Kevlin. The art of code with Dylan. So actually, I had no idea. He's doing that in another room somewhere. And Dylan is doing the art of code
probably on time, so he'll be done.
Room. So he'll be done, yes, because we've run over. Christ, a lot. GraphQL, gRPC, or REST, that's easy. Using immutable data structures in C# and .NET, that sounds like great fun. And then there's the Reduced NDC Company, which is going to summarise the entire conference.
Indefinitely under 60
which started with We Are the Guardians of Our Future by Tess Fernandez Norlander. Which is a crossover between Guardians of the Galaxy and Back to the Future, where Marty McFly has to stop Thanos' parents from meeting. And then there was the Signal R deep dive. Turns out that PowerPoint has an option to make the slide deck loop. So I'll just keep going until you find That is it from me and Amy. Thank you very much for joining in and making me look funnier.
No worries.
It does almost never happen, yeah. Thank you very much for coming, and if you're going to be at PubConf later, then we will both see you there, and if you're not, then that sucks for you.
Yep.
And we'll see you again sometime. Thank you.